A simple act of kindness on a busy city street becomes the spark that starts a storm of controversy. When a homeless teenager performs a simple act without thinking, little does he know that someone is watching him. In the blink of an eye, his world is turned upside down, and he is thrown into the judgment of others. But as the teenager navigates his recent fame, dark forces emerge, threatening to unravel everything. Does this hero really live up to his new position? Let's find out now. Welcome, enjoy, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Alex huddled deeper into the worn, oversized jacket, seeking warmth against the biting autumn wind. The bustling city street teemed with people, their eyes fixed ahead, oblivious to the teenager trying to disappear into the shadows of a grimy alleyway. At 17, Alex had mastered the art of invisibility, a skill honed through months of homelessness. The cardboard sign propped nearby read, "Anything helps," but most passers-by didn't even glance in its direction. As the day wore on, Alex's stomach growled insistently. The last meal, a half-eaten sandwich from a kind deli owner, was a distant memory. Sighing, Alex gathered the meager possessions stuffed into a battered backpack and began the nightly search for a safe place to sleep. The city transformed as darkness fell, its glittering lights a stark contrast to the grim reality of life on the streets. Navigating through the maze of alleys and side streets, Alex remained alert for potential dangers. Other homeless individuals, some friendly and others not, occupied various nooks and crannies. Alex had learned early on to avoid confrontation and find isolated spots. Tonight's destination was a secluded corner behind an old bookstore, where the owner turned a blind eye to Alex's presence as long as the area remained clean. Settling down for the night, Alex pulled out a tattered notebook and a stubby pencil. Writing had become a lifeline, a way to process the day's events and hold on to a sense of self. As sirens wailed in the distance and the city's nightlife hummed, Alex penned thoughts and observations, clinging to the hope that someday, somehow, life would change. Little did Alex know that change was just around the corner, about to arrive in the most unexpected form. The following morning, Alex woke to the familiar sounds of the city stirring to life. Stretching stiff muscles, the teen emerged from the makeshift shelter and began the daily routine of blending into the urban landscape. As Alex walked along the sidewalk, a soft whine caught attention. Turning, the teen spotted a scruffy dog huddled in a doorway, its ribs visible beneath matted fur. Without hesitation, Alex approached the animal slowly, speaking in soothing tones. The dog's tail wagged hesitantly, a glimmer of trust in its eyes. Alex reached into the backpack and pulled out a slightly squashed granola bar, the last bit of food. Breaking it in half, the teen offered a portion to the dog, who accepted it gratefully. As they shared this modest meal, a bond formed between two souls adrift in the urban sea. Unbeknownst to Alex and the newfound canine companion, Sarah, a young woman on her way to work, had paused to witness this quiet act of kindness. Moved by the sight of a homeless teenager sharing their last morsel with a stray dog, Sarah discreetly took out her phone and captured a photo. She hesitated for a moment, contemplating whether to approach, but decided against disturbing the poignant scene. As Sarah continued her commute, she couldn't shake the image from her mind. The simple gesture of compassion in the face of obvious hardship struck a chord deep within her. By the time she reached her office, Sarah had made a decision. She would share this moment with the world, hoping to inspire others, and perhaps even make a difference in the life of the kind-hearted teen she had observed. Sarah's fingers hovered over her phone's screen as she crafted the social media post. She carefully described the scene she had witnessed, emphasizing the selflessness of the homeless teen's actions. Attaching the photo, she added a heartfelt plea for compassion and awareness of the struggles faced by those living on the streets. With a deep breath, she pressed post and went about her workday, unaware of the ripple effect her words were about to create. Within hours, Sarah's post began to gain traction. Friends shared it, then friends of friends, and soon it had spread far beyond her immediate circle. By lunchtime, local news outlets had picked up the story, captivated by the image of kindness amidst adversity. Sarah's phone buzzed incessantly with notifications as thousands of people reacted to and commented on her post. As the day progressed, the story continued to snowball. National news networks caught wind of the viral sensation, and suddenly, the unnamed teen's act of kindness was being discussed on prime-time shows. Hashtags like #HomelessHero and #KindnessMatters trended across various platforms. People from all walks of life were touched by the simple yet powerful gesture, sparking conversations about homelessness, compassion, and societal responsibility. By nightfall, what had started as a single social media post had transformed into a full-blown phenomenon. Sarah sat in her apartment, overwhelmed by the response. She realized that her impulsive decision to share what she had witnessed had unleashed a tidal wave of emotion and action. As she scrolled through countless messages and comments, she wondered about the teen she had photographed. Little did she know that somewhere in the city, Alex and the stray dog were huddled together, blissfully unaware of the storm of attention about to descend upon them. Alex woke to an unusual commotion on the street. People were pointing and whispering, their eyes darting towards the alley where Alex and the stray dog, now named Buddy, had taken shelter. Confused and wary, Alex gathered their meager belongings, ready to move if necessary. As they emerged from the alley, a small crowd gathered, smartphones raised to capture images. Alex froze, unsure of how to react to this sudden unwanted attention. A kind-faced woman approached, holding out a newspaper. "Is this you?" she asked gently. Alex's eyes widened at the sight of a grainy photo on the front page. It showed the moment of sharing food with Buddy. The headline read, "Homeless Teen's Act of Kindness Captures Hearts." Alex's mind reeled, trying to process this unexpected turn of events. How had a simple private moment become so public? As the day progressed, Alex found it increasingly difficult to maintain anonymity. Well-meaning strangers approached offering food, money, and words of encouragement. While grateful for the kindness, Alex felt exposed and vulnerable. The attention brought a new set of challenges: where to safely keep the donated money, how to protect Buddy from overzealous admirers, and most importantly, how to handle the emotional weight of suddenly being thrust into the public eye. That night, huddled in a new hiding spot with Buddy, Alex pondered the day's events. The newfound visibility was both a blessing and a curse. It offered potential opportunities for a better life, but it also stripped away the protective cloak of invisibility that had been a survival tool for so long. As Alex drifted off to sleep, questions swirled. What would tomorrow bring? How long would this attention last? And most pressingly, how could this unexpected spotlight be used to help others in similar situations? The following days were a whirlwind for Alex. Local news stations clamored for interviews, social workers reached out offering assistance, and strangers continued to approach with gifts and praise. Alex struggled with the hero label that had been thrust upon them. After all, sharing food with a hungry dog wasn't heroic, it was simply the right thing to do. The pressure to live up to the public's expectations weighed heavily on Alex's shoulders. Amidst the chaos, Alex encountered both fervent supporters and vocal skeptics. Some praised the teen's compassion and resilience, while others questioned the authenticity of the viral story, or criticized the attention given to one homeless individual when so many others struggled in silence. Alex found it challenging to navigate these conflicting reactions, often feeling like a fraud despite having done nothing to seek out this attention. One afternoon, as Alex sat in a local park with Buddy, a group of teenagers approached. Unlike the usual admirers, they wore sneers of contempt. "You think you're special because you fed some mutt?" one of them taunted. Alex remained silent, heart racing. The confrontation escalated until a passerby intervened, scaring off the group. This incident served as a harsh reminder that not everyone viewed Alex's story with kindness. Despite the challenges, Alex began to recognize the potential power of this unexpected platform. If people were willing to listen, perhaps there was an opportunity to shed light on the broader issues of youth homelessness. With this realization came a sense of responsibility. Alex decided to cautiously embrace the role of reluctant hero, not for personal gain, but for the chance to make a difference for others living on the streets. It was a daunting prospect, but one that offered a glimmer of hope in an otherwise uncertain future. Sarah watched in awe as her simple social media post continued to create waves. Her inbox overflowed with messages from people wanting to help, journalists seeking interviews, and even a few skeptics questioning the story's authenticity. Amidst the chaos, Sarah felt a growing sense of responsibility. She had inadvertently thrust a homeless teenager into the spotlight. Now she needed to ensure that this attention translated into real, positive change. Determined to help, Sarah began researching local organizations that supported homeless youth. She reached out to shelters, advocacy groups, and social workers, trying to build a network of support for Alex and others in similar situations. Her evenings and weekends became consumed with this self-imposed mission, driven by a mix of guilt for exposing Alex's private moment and hope for the potential good that could come from it. As the media frenzy continued, Sarah realized she needed to find Alex, not for another story or photo opportunity, but to offer support and to ensure the teenager was coping with the sudden attention. She retraced her steps to where she had first seen Alex and Buddy, asking around and showing the now famous photo. After days of searching, she finally spotted them in a quiet corner of a public park. Approaching cautiously, Sarah introduced herself to Alex. "I'm the one who took the photo," she admitted, watching Alex's expression carefully. "I'm sorry if it's caused you any trouble. I want to help, if you'll let me." As Alex processed this information, Sarah held her breath, hoping her offer of support would be accepted. She knew that gaining Alex's trust would be crucial in navigating the challenges ahead and turning this viral moment into lasting change for homeless youth in their city. As Alex's story gained traction, it began to ruffle feathers within the city's established systems. The Department of Social Services found itself under scrutiny for failing to help Alex earlier. In response, they launched an aggressive campaign to bring Alex into the system, citing concerns for the teenager's welfare. However, their approach felt more like damage control than genuine care, leaving Alex wary and distrustful. Local politicians, sensing an opportunity, began to use Alex's story in their rhetoric. Some championed the cause of homeless youth, while others criticized the attention given to one individual over systemic solutions. Alex found it disheartening to see personal struggles turned into political talking points. The pressure to conform to various agendas mounted, with each group claiming to have Alex's best interests at heart. Meanwhile, bureaucratic obstacles emerged at every turn. When Sarah attempted to set up a fundraising campaign for Alex, they encountered legal hurdles due to Alex's age and lack of documentation. Shelters that had previously turned a blind eye now refused entry, citing overcrowding or policy changes. It seemed that Alex's newfound visibility had paradoxically made accessing basic services more difficult. As public scrutiny intensified, Alex faced a barrage of questions about past choices and circumstances. Well-meaning individuals and prying journalists alike demanded explanations for how a teenager had ended up on the streets. Alex struggled to maintain privacy while navigating these invasive inquiries. The system that had once ignored Alex was now omnipresent, its gaze both suffocating and judgmental. Through it all, Alex clung to the unwavering companionship of Buddy, finding solace in the simplicity of their bond amidst the growing complexity of life in the spotlight. Amidst the swirling chaos of media attention and systemic pushback, Alex discovered an unexpected talent: public speaking. It began unexpectedly during a visit to a local shelter with Sarah. As they toured the facility, Alex overheard staff members discussing budget cuts that would reduce services. Without thinking, Alex spoke up, sharing personal experiences of how crucial these services were for survival on the streets. The room fell silent as Alex continued, words flowing with a raw authenticity that captivated everyone present. Alex spoke of the daily struggles faced by homeless youth, the importance of compassion, and the need for systemic change. As the impromptu speech concluded, the shelter director approached Alex with tears in her eyes. "We need more voices like yours," she said. "Would you consider speaking at our fundraising event next week?" Nervous but determined, Alex agreed. In the days that followed, Sarah helped prepare, offering encouragement and advice. The night of the event arrived, and Alex stood before a room full of donors, activists, and community leaders. With Buddy by his side, Alex took a deep breath and began to speak. The words came naturally, fueled by years of pent-up frustrations and hopes. As Alex's speech concluded, the room erupted in applause. Many in the audience were visibly moved, some wiping away tears. In that moment, Alex realized the power of sharing these experiences. This newfound voice could be a tool for change, a way to bridge the gap between those who lived on the streets and those who had the power to help. For the first time since the photo went viral, Alex felt a sense of purpose in the spotlight. This was no longer just about one teenager and a dog. It was about giving voice to an often ignored community. Word of Alex's powerful speech spread quickly, resonating with other homeless youth across the city. Many who had previously felt voiceless and invisible began to step forward, sharing their own stories. Social media buzzed with hashtags like #StreetStories and #YouthSpeakUp as a grassroots movement began to take shape. Alex, with Sarah's support, became a rallying point for this burgeoning community. Local organizations that worked with homeless youth reached out to Alex, seeking collaboration. Together, they organized informal meetups in parks and community centers, creating safe spaces for young people to share experiences and support each other. These gatherings grew in size and frequency, attracting not only those living on the streets, but also students, activists, and concerned citizens eager to learn and help. As the movement gained momentum, it faced its share of challenges. Some community members expressed concerns about the gatherings, fearing they would attract crime or disrupt neighborhoods. Others criticized the focus on youth homelessness, arguing that it overshadowed the needs of older homeless individuals. Alex and the growing network of supporters worked tirelessly to address these concerns, emphasizing their goal of raising awareness for all those affected by homelessness. Despite the obstacles, the movement continued to expand. Alex's initial act of kindness had sparked a revolution of compassion and action. Youth-led initiatives began to emerge: street outreach programs, peer counseling services, and advocacy groups that lobbied for policy changes. As Alex watched these developments unfold, there was a mix of pride and disbelief. What had started as a simple moment of sharing with a stray dog had grown into something far bigger than one person. It was becoming clear that this movement had the potential to create real, lasting change in the lives of homeless youth across the city. As the movement grew, Alex found it increasingly difficult to reconcile the public persona of a strong, inspiring leader with the private struggles that lingered beneath the surface. Nightmares of past traumas began to resurface, jolting Alex awake in cold sweats. The memories of family conflicts, the pain of abandonment, and the harsh realities of street life weighed heavily, threatening to undermine the confidence Alex had begun to build. Sarah noticed the change in Alex's demeanor and gently encouraged seeking professional help. Initially resistant, Alex finally agreed to meet with a counselor who specialized in working with homeless youth. In these sessions, Alex began to confront the deep-seated fears and insecurities that had been pushed aside in the whirlwind of recent events. It was a painful process, but slowly, Alex started to develop healthier coping mechanisms and a stronger sense of self-worth. Despite the progress in therapy, Alex struggled with imposter syndrome as the movement continued to gain traction. There were moments of paralyzing self-doubt, where Alex questioned the right to be a voice for others who had suffered similar or worse fates. The fear of letting down the people who now looked up to Alex became almost overwhelming at times. But he remained a constant source of comfort, his unwavering loyalty a reminder of the simple act of kindness that had started it all. Through it all, Alex learned to lean on the support network that had formed. Sarah, the counselor, and fellow youth activists offered understanding and encouragement. Slowly, Alex began to accept that being a leader didn't mean being perfect or having all the answers. It meant being authentic, vulnerable, and committed to growth. As Alex worked through these personal demons, the movement itself seemed to gain strength from this display of honesty and resilience. The journey of healing became not just a personal one, but an inspiration for others facing their own struggles. As the movement for homeless youth rights gained momentum, it inevitably attracted opposition from those who profited from the status quo. Slumlords who rented substandard properties to desperate young people felt threatened by calls for better housing regulations. Some shelter administrators, accustomed to operating with little oversight, pushed back against demands for improved conditions and accountability. Even certain charities, which had long controlled the narrative around homelessness, viewed the youth-led movement with suspicion. This opposition manifested in various forms. Smear campaigns began to circulate, attempting to discredit Alex and other youth leaders. Anonymous tips led to increased police presence at their gatherings, creating an atmosphere of intimidation. Lobbying efforts intensified at City Hall, with well-funded groups arguing against proposed reforms that would benefit homeless youth. The movement found itself facing a coordinated and resourceful adversary. Alex and the other young activists were initially caught off guard by the intensity of the pushback. They had naively believed that their cause was so just that it would face little resistance. Now, they found themselves needing to quickly develop strategies to counter misinformation, protect their members, and continue advocating effectively. It was a crash course in the complex world of activism and politics. Despite the challenges, The opposition's efforts had an unintended effect. They galvanized support for the movement. Many citizens, outraged by the attempts to silence these young voices, rallied behind Alex and the other youth leaders. Local journalists began investigating the sources of the opposition, uncovering connections to powerful interests that benefited from the cycle of youth homelessness. As the conflict intensified, it became clear that the movement was touching on deep-rooted issues within the city's social and economic structures. The stage was set for a pivotal confrontation. In response to the mounting opposition, Alex and the core group of youth activists realized they needed a bold move to regain momentum and force meaningful change. After days of intense discussion and planning, they decided to organize a massive, peaceful demonstration in the heart of the city. The goal was to bring together not just homeless youth, but all supporters of their cause, creating a visual representation of the community's demand for change. Planning the demonstration was a monumental task. Alex worked tirelessly with Sarah and other organizers to secure permits, coordinate with sympathetic local businesses for support, and develop a comprehensive outreach strategy. They were determined to make this event not just a protest, but a powerful statement of unity and hope. Every detail was considered, from ensuring the safety of participants to crafting a compelling program of speakers and performances. As word of the upcoming demonstration spread, so did the excitement and anticipation. Youth from shelters and streets across the city volunteered to help, eager to be part of something bigger than themselves. Local artists offered to create banners and installations, while musicians pledged to perform. The event was shaping up to be a celebration of resilience as much as a call for change. Alex felt a mix of nervousness and pride, aware of the magnitude of what they were attempting. However, as the day of the demonstration approached, tensions in the city began to rise. There were rumors of counter-protests being organized by opposition groups. The police warned of potential confrontations. Alex and the other leaders huddled in urgent meetings, refining their plans to ensure the safety of all participants, while still making their voices heard. They knew that the success or failure of this demonstration could define the future of their movement. With determination and hope, they pressed forward, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. The day of the demonstration dawned bright and clear, as if nature itself approved of their cause. Alex stood at the designated gathering point, heart pounding with a mixture of excitement and apprehension. Slowly, people began to arrive, first in trickles, then in waves. Homeless youth, students, families, and supporters from all walks of life converged, their energy palpable. Alex felt a surge of hope seeing the diverse crowd, all united for a common purpose. As the demonstration began its march through the city streets, the air filled with chants and songs. Colorful banners and signs bobbed above the crowd, each telling a story of struggle and resilience. Alex walked at the front, Buddy trotting faithfully beside, both symbols of the movement's humble beginnings. The procession swelled as it moved, with bystanders joining in, touched by the passion and determination they witnessed. However, as they approached the city hall, the atmosphere shifted. A group of counter-protesters had gathered, their angry shouts cutting through the peaceful chants. Tension rippled through the crowd as the two groups faced off. Alex's heart raced, knowing that how they handled this moment could define their entire movement. With a deep breath, Alex stepped forward, gesturing for calm among the supporters. In that crucial moment, Alex's voice rang out clear and strong, addressing both sides. "We're not here to fight, but to be heard. Our stories, our struggles, our hopes, they matter. And so do yours." The sincerity in Alex's words seemed to resonate, slowly diffusing the tension. As both sides listened, a dialogue began to emerge, replacing confrontation with conversation. It wasn't perfect, but it was a start. In that moment, Alex realized that true change comes not just from speaking out, but from the willingness to listen and find common ground. In the immediate aftermath of the demonstration, the city buzzed with energy. News coverage was extensive, with images of the peaceful march and Alex's impromptu speech at City Hall dominating headlines. Social media exploded with first-hand accounts and videos, the hashtag #HomelessYouthRise trending nationally. The public reaction was overwhelmingly positive, with many praising the maturity and compassion shown by the young activists in the face of opposition. The demonstration had succeeded in bringing the issue of youth homelessness to the forefront of public consciousness. Local politicians, sensing the shift in public opinion, began to reach out to Alex and other youth leaders, eager to be seen as part of the solution. Proposals for new youth shelters, education programs, and housing initiatives that had long been stalled suddenly gained traction. It seemed that the tide was finally turning. However, Alex and the other organizers knew that media attention could be fleeting. They worked tirelessly to capitalize on the momentum, scheduling meetings with city officials, giving interviews, and continuing their grassroots organizing efforts. The movement had gained credibility, but the real work of creating lasting change was only beginning. Alex felt the weight of responsibility, knowing that they needed to translate this moment of visibility into concrete action. As the days passed, Alex reflected on the journey from invisible teen to reluctant hero to activist leader. There had been moments of doubt, fear, and overwhelming pressure, but there had also been incredible joy, deep friendships forged, and the profound satisfaction of making a difference. Looking at Buddy, who had been there through it all, Alex smiled. They had come so far, but there was still so much to do. The future was uncertain, but for the first time in a long time, it was also full of hope. In the weeks following the demonstration, tangible changes began to take shape. The city council, responding to public pressure, passed a comprehensive package of reforms aimed at addressing youth homelessness. It included funding for new shelters, job training programs, and mental health services specifically tailored for young people. Alex and other youth leaders were invited to participate in the implementation process, ensuring that the voices of those most affected would be heard. Private sector involvement also increased. Local businesses, inspired by the movement, started apprenticeship programs for homeless youth. A tech company offered to develop an app to connect young people with resources and support services. Even the real estate sector, previously seen as an adversary, began discussions on how to create affordable housing options for youth transitioning off the streets. The community's response was a powerful reminder of what could be achieved when people came together for a common cause. For Alex, this period was one of intense personal growth. The scared, lonely teenager who had once shared a granola bar with a stray dog was now a confident young adult, speaking at conferences and advising policymakers. There were still challenges, moments of self-doubt, the ongoing struggle with personal trauma, and the pressure of public scrutiny. But with the support of Sarah, fellow activists, and a growing network of mentors, Alex was learning to navigate these obstacles with grace and resilience. As Alex stood on the steps of the newly opened youth center, preparing to cut the ribbon at its grand opening, there was a moment of reflection. The journey had been long and often difficult, but it had led to real, meaningful change. Looking out at the crowd-familiar faces of fellow activists, city officials, and most importantly, young people filled with hope, Alex felt a profound sense of accomplishment and purpose. This wasn't an ending, but a new beginning. There was still much work to be done, but now they had the tools, the support, and the determination to keep moving forward, one step at a time. I really hope you enjoyed the story. Please leave a comment with your views. I'm sure there will be new videos on this channel that will thrill you. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, give it a like, and activate the notification bell so you don't miss our next videos. Until next time.